You will die alone, not because you're unloved, but because you were born alone, and your race was never with anyone else. The greatest tragedy of mankind is the obsession with judging others instead of mastering oneself. The old man's voice cracked, but his eyes were sharp. The room, packed with weeping children and confused grandchildren, fell into stunned silence. This was not the farewell speech anyone expected. He wasn't interested in cliches or pleasantries. He was dying. And before he left this world, he had a truth too urgent to go unsaid, a final message powerful enough to change the destinies of everyone who heard it. The old man, Chief Obiora, once a titan of industry and a revered name across continents, sat propped on a pillow in the center of a large family room. He had summoned every member of his bloodline from foreign shores and nearby cities. They came in their numbers, some reluctantly, others anxiously. Everyone knew why. Obiora had cancer, the kind that extinguished hope and offered no illusions of survival. His family had taken him to every healing home they could find. Not a single traditional healer in the land hadn't tried some remedy in vain. Still, nothing worked. The disease was relentless, final. He knew it, and so did everyone else. He was not only sick, he was old. And when the truth settled over him like a heavy dusk, Axo sent out an urgent call across all states. Every one of his 4 sons, no matter how far-flung or estranged, and his only daughter, his beloved Jewel, were summoned immediately. No one dared delay. The message was clear. Return home at once. Your father has something to say. 2 days after the call, every one of his 7 sons and his only daughter arrived. They came from across states and even international borders, abandoning businesses, postponing plans, and braving emergencies. The family house buzzed with emotion and urgency. Then, very early one morning, just as dawn kissed the earth, Obiora sent word through the house. A family meeting was to take place immediately. One by one, they gathered before him, seated in solemn silence, surrounded by the scent of old wood and whispered prayers. Only then did he begin with a story, not a parable, a real account from his own past, cloaked in the fates of a fictional family. There lived a wealthy family years back in this very community, he said, his voice thin but commanding. They were powerful, influential, and had 6 boys and 3 girls. These children were born into opportunity and position. Their parents were not only rich, but the apple of the community's eye, generous, respected, and deeply loved. They built boreholes, repaired roads, erected schools, and helped the poor. The people adored them, and their name was synonymous with kindness. But 5 of the boys, they were monsters in silk, proud, arrogant. They judged every poor soul they came across. They mocked the less fortunate, flaunted their privilege, and rode shamelessly on their parents' wealth. They took what wasn't theirs, lands, possessions, even people's wives. They splashed money around carelessly, wasting resources and shaming humility. Their parents, though beloved by the community, grew weary of covering their children's shame. They had done all they could, but among them, the third-born, Ezekiel, chose a different path. He was different, and everyone knew it, because his difference was clear as day. That boy, Obiora continued, was humble, quiet, focused. He did not correct his brothers. He didn't argue. He simply chose to build himself in silence. He studied, practiced football, explored technology, and mastered diplomacy. While the others played judge and jury over the world, he played student to his own potential. And then, Obiora paused, coughing, life struck. Their parents had traveled to a neighboring city to finalize plans for establishing a new cement facility, an expansion that would have marked a new chapter for their already thriving empire. But fate was cruel. A fuel truck lost control and collided with their vehicle. By the time emergency help arrived, both parents had drawn their last breath, The news sent shockwaves across the community. The empire, now left in the hands of their children, those very ones who had once been thorns in their parents' flesh, began to unravel. There had been no legal will prepared, no succession plan, because no one expected the sudden loss. As a result, the mighty Adenuga Empire began to crumble. The village king, who once called them the Kingmakers, lamented the fall. Months after their passing, business partners who once smiled in profit turned sour, while fake friends revealed their true intentions. Legal battles erupted as former allies tried to seize control. The children, overwhelmed and unprepared, could barely keep up. The proud brothers crumbled. The impact of their parents' demise didn't just shake the family, it unshackled the very forces the parents had barely contained. Their presence had been the only leash on their children's destructive nature. Now, left unchecked, the children descended into chaos. They took more land than they had during their parents' lifetime, sold off schools built by their parents to private entities, and recommissioned hotels bearing the family name into their own personal assets. Their tyranny over the village knew no bounds. Eventually, the village rose in defiance. Fed up with the terror, they expelled 3 of the children. One of them, lost in the spiral of crime, turned to robbery. During a nighttime raid on a supermarket, he was shot dead by area boys defending their community. But Ezekiel, the third-born, remained the saving grace of the Adenuga legacy. Where his siblings destroyed, he rebuilt. While they wallowed in shame, he rose massively. Through grit and relentless focus, he not only rebuilt the family name, but fought off the corporate vultures trying to seize his parents' business. He revived what was left of the empire and turned it into something stronger, more dignified than ever before. I know some of you must be wondering why I brought you all back home to tell this particular story. But now, let me ask you, after hearing the paths taken by the children of the Adenuga family, which path will you take? Silence. He smiled. You don't have to answer me. I already know the path many of you will choose. But before you go, remember this. What most people overlook is the envy that followed the Adenuga family from every corner. Everyone wanted to be them, to have their wealth, their influence. But few knew the ridicule, the fractures, the decay that haunted them within and beyond this town, except for one, the third-born, Ezekiel. He never judged his brothers, not even once. He focused on himself. He failed quietly. Then he rose quietly. And when his family needed redemption, he was the one who rescued the entire legacy from ruin. So don't just choose to be like Ezekiel. And above all, never judge a family from the outside. The room was filled with tears, not from grief, but conviction. Obiora laid back, his energy fading. If you must be rich, let it come with peace. Any wealth without peace is a slow death. And in anything, any wealth you are building, build and train your children. Hold my words dearly. Don't ever forget them. Then he whispered his final sentence. Focus on yourself, and the world will focus on you. But never forsake your family, because no matter how far you go, they are your first roots and your final strength. Few hours later, as the sun climbed into its noonday height, a loud cry broke out from the family house. Chief Obiora had passed. This story is not just about Obiora. It is about you. Have you spent your time watching others, judging them, wishing their downfall, or do you wake up each day fighting to become a better version of yourself? Remember, you were born alone. You will die alone. But in between, you have the power to write your story. If this story inspired you, please help us grow this channel by sharing this video, giving it a thumbs up, and leaving a comment below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so more people can discover powerful stories like this one. Until next time, stay focused, stay true, and live the life you were born to lead.